This is John Speweik with Speweik Preservation Consultants, and we're up here at the University of Wisconsin in Madison, Wisconsin, at North Hall, a building that was constructed in 1849. And behind me, we actually have the historic landmark plaque that was placed on the building in 1966, which makes this building a registered National Historic Landmark. And the reason why Speweik Preservation Consultants is here is we're working with the owner and the architect to develop a historic masonry restoration and preservation plan for the restoration of this building. One of the primary reasons that Speweik Preservation Consultants is here is to define the treatment procedures to remove the cement ribbon joint that's been placed over the top of the sandstone mortar joint, which is non-original. They estimate that this has been here for 75 to 100 years. We've taken off the cement ribbon joint to save the integrity of the historic stonework, and now you can see on this side the original lime putty mortar has been placed back in the mortar joint as it was probably originally placed in there back in 1849, along with the actual lime inclusions, including right into the mortar joints themselves. Another aspect of our scope for the preservation of the property was to actually gauge the monitoring of the cracks on the building themselves, both north and south halls. You see a crack gauge monitor here that's been placed on the wall, measuring the actual movement of the crack during different seasonal temperature changes and thermodynamics of the wall movement itself. This stone represents a stone that needs to be removed and redressed. You can see the texture of the stone, and right here in this area has been lost to deterioration from the cement material that was been placed around it. The cement ribbon joint is then removed from the wall, as you can see here, and then first off you can see over here the cement ribbon joint is removed, and then a center cut is placed down the center of what is then a flush surface of the cement, and then the remaining mortar is removed, as you can see here from the top and bottom. You can actually see back here the original lime mortar with the lime inclusions back in the original wall. So this cement has to be taken out in its entirety about an inch back prior to the new mortar being placed in the wall. And here's a piece of the actual original ribbon joint, what it looks like after it comes out. That's how deep it was in the wall. We used a nail system with tape that has different colors on them with numbers representing what stone treatment is to be carried out on this particular stone. This particular stone is a red number 5, which means it needs to be taken out, redressed, and then placed back into the wall, flush with the surface of the wall after it's redressed. This stone right here I have my hands on was not removed from the wall. It was just redressed in the wall while it was in situ. These carving chisel marks were actually put into the surface of the stone while the stone remained in the wall. This stone was actually removed from the wall because it was decayed back far from the surface of profile of the wall, and was redressed on a sand table and then put back into the wall and shims and then pointed back in. You can see the nice mortar joints now are all finished with lime putty mortar, and they're all dressed cleanly and very nicely, exposing the edge of the stone to the profile finish of what we believe was the original 1849 finish. This treatment on this stone was a Dutchman. A Dutchman repair is when a piece of stone is cut out of the surface of the actual large stone and a smaller stone is placed in its place. You can see the Dutchman right here that's been put in place with sparkle surface treatment finishing off the joint. There was a lot of cracks in the stone work that didn't require the stone to be actually removed from the wall. In these areas we used DHL lime injection, and this is actually a crack right here. That was a crack that went through the surface and through the stone, and we repaired that with a DHL lime injection and then a surface spackle treatment. So that's what how that turned out. It turned out real nice and it matched really well. This is a pile of the actual stone that we're using to replace the pieces for Stone Dutchman and repairing the stone in situ. And we received this from Picnic Point out here at the university on a church that was taken down, and we believe it was built at the same time period as North Hall was in 1850. Here's just an example of one of the stones that's going to be coming out and replaced. You can see that it's cracked all the way through, so we're going to be replacing this stone in its entirety once it goes back in the wall, and then redressing it to match the surface texture of the stone that surround the area. On behalf of Speweik Preservation Consultants, we'd like to thank the University of Wisconsin, the state of Wisconsin, and Isthmus Architecture for letting us be a part and be privileged to work on North and South Halls at the university here and the preservation of the exterior stone masonry.